Yo, 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 what is up? What is up? What's going on? Oh man, my camera. My camera look far as off as hell. Give me 2 seconds. One moment. There we go. That's better. That's better. I don't know why my camera's looking so far off, man. What's going on, man? Thank y'all for tuning in to another Daniel Elliott live stream show. Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's get it. The Elliott Fitness Live. It is Monday, the start of a new week, the start of a new day. As we know, these whatchamacallit, the government shutdown still going on, man. But we having a good day. We got our Monday started. Some might started good. Some of y'all might have started slow. It's been a rough one for me this morning, but we got up and still got a workout in. We still have to take care of our body, mind, body, soul, and spirit. You know what I mean? Can't let that slack. Can't let it slack. You got to get it. You got to make it happen, Captain. And if you're having a bad day or whatever, let Mr. Chow break it down to you.
You're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
And as long as you didn't become unalive, you can still stay focused and get your grind on and do what you have to do to get things right, to get things going, because that's all there is left to do. That's what it is. Where's that banner at? I have to pull that banner down. I don't know why that banner, well, I might end up putting that banner right back up while I'm tripping. But we are simultaneously streaming on 4 different platforms: YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor. When you see that thumbs up like you're going to see on the screen, hit that like button. Greatly appreciate it. Get the algorithm out. And yes, sir, we are going to be, and if you're on any of the other platforms, give your boy a subscribe and a follow. Be greatly appreciated. But we are going to go ahead and pick up where we left off. Last week, I think it was Friday I did. Oh, something in my eye. Hold on. 1 second. Eyelash. All right. Last week we did the show, and I was doing the first half of the show. I had to end it, had stuff I had to do, and I was trying to get to it over the weekend, but just the way my weekend worked out, I didn't get a chance to finish the show, so I'm going to go ahead and do the second part of yesterday's show today. So we're going to go ahead and get that thing going and keep that rolling and get this second part of the show going on for sure, and pick up on part 2. So I'll have a little bit of what we had looked at last week, and I can show you where we left off at last week, or I can just kind of talk about where we left off at last week, just to kind of sum it up. We're basically going in and talking about how the female economy is going, and how the she economy is the driving force of the economy, and how, you know, women are going forward and carrying or pushing and causing the economy to do what it's doing, mainly because they're the primary consumers, primary spenders. The more money they make, plus there's not much of a family structure going on, so it's more single people walking around. It's not very many couples going around, so you have men and women going against each other, competing for jobs, and women are taking over a good sector of the jobs and having a higher consumerism as opposed to what they used to have. Because when there was more marriages, women was already the primary bread spenders of the family, of the economy at that. So now you put them inside of an economy where marriage is less desired, and then now you give them more money, so now they're really spending more money as far as the consumer goes, and they're driving the GDP, and they have the she economy going forth, which I think in 2028, 2030, they're projected to be controlling $35 million of the, no, 35 trillion dollars of the world, or at least the country's consumer market, or something like that. So they're going to be spending a hell of a lot of money, and they're going to be in charge of all that going forth. However, at the same time that's going on, there's 2 different tiers, 2 different classes going on, 2 different classes of I guess you could say women going on. But at the same time, it's more like a 2-tier society. You got the elite tier, and the working tier. And with feminism, there's 2 different kinds of feminism. You have the bougie or bourgeois feminism, is what they called it back in the Bolshevik or Bolshevik revolution, or whatever that was called, where they came in and did their whole thing and caused a hell of a ruckus. I did a show on it. The Bolsheviks. Yeah. Well, during that time, they had this 2-tier feminism. And you had the feminism that was for the working, the peasant woman. You had the feminism that was for the elite class of women at the top. And I actually showed a video on it where a lady broke it down. Actually, I'm going to show that right now to kind of bring us up to speed on what I'm talking about, so we have a good understanding of the fact that there's two different kinds of feminism going on. And when you look at that, you'll have an understanding of which tier of people is going to be driving the economy forth, which is now hard to figure out. But we're going to see what she says right here. So I'm going to pull this video back up from whenever I did this last week, just to kind of pick up where we left off, so you can see what I mean, to understand women working and how they drive the economy. And then there's two tier of women, which is going to be like the two different kinds of feminism, which you have. And you're going to see how they really don't work together, but it's just like the elite and the peasants at the end of the day. So it's just a two-tier society at the end of the day is really what it is in a nutshell. But when you have the genders fighting against each other, and one gender's thinking that if their gender gets on top, then they're going to help the ones at the bottom. The other thinking if their gender gets on top, they're going to help the one at the bottom. But that's not the case. The point of it all is the rich is going to get rich and the poor is going to get slaughtered. That's how that's basically panning out at the end of the day. So I got this video right here. So let me get this lady up here for her to talk about this real quick, because she did a good way of explaining it. So I'm going to go ahead and let her run it back and explain exactly where we left off on last week's show. So since this is part 2, and then we're going to pick up and move forward from here. So let's go ahead and pull this up on the screen. Where is it at? Right there. Bam. And I guess I could still have that banner on there. So put that banner back up. And I'm going to let her speak on this, and she's going to talk about this, and then we're going to progress forward with the rest of the show. So here we go.
Suits are not enough.
Yes.
In that chapter, I really try to unpack why it is that this sort of liberal feminism, lean-in feminism, girl boss feminism, whatever you want to call it, the socialists used to call it bourgeois feminism back in the late 19th century. That sort of strand of feminism was always about getting women things like voting rights through the suffragettes, getting women, married women, property rights, allowing women access to higher education, and allowing women access to previously male professions. And so that version of women's activism was always really about privileged women. It was always really about the daughters of those with property, the wealthy daughters being really angry that when they got married, all of their wealth was immediately transferred to the pockets of their husbands, who could spend it at will, as many of them did. And there were, all of these rules, excluding women from obviously voting, but also excluding women from professions, no matter how talented they were. And I think it's really important to understand that when we look at the history of women's activism in the late 19th century, and we go back to somebody like Flora Tristan, who was writing in like 1838, 1840, her final book is 1843, what you see is that there was this whole other strand of feminism, which was really about understanding that working women, that peasant women, that ordinary women needed to build a coalition with men, with workers from the bottom up, and really kind of transform society together, rather than just imagining that having some elite role models, like having a female president or a female CEO or some, girl boss sort of thing, that top-down kind of trickle-down idea of like, well, if we just have a few women in power, they're going to make us all, it's going to be good for all of us. It's not.
Okay, so as you see right there is what she said. Two different tiers of feminism going on: top tier, bottom tier, worker, peasant, elite class. They have two different ways of how they view things. They see feminism from two different points of views. One wants power and to be in positions to basically the ones at the top basically want to be in power and be in positions to do things that the higher up men do. They don't want to give up their resources. They want to be able to pass on and have their inheritance passed down to them. They don't want to have to give up their inheritance that's been given to them. They want to be able to have their own stuff. They want to be able to carry on and move forward with the wealth that they have. They want to bridge the wealth gap. While the peasant, the lower tier women, they want to basically bridge the wage gap, and they just have a whole different way of seeing things, and they're trying to restructure how marriage works at the bottom and then move it on up by changing everything from the bottom. And she's saying, well, these women may think that putting one of these women at the top, that they're going to help the rest of the bottom. It's not going to happen. And at the end of the day, if you look at it, it's just basically the rich and the poor. So people, for some reason, may think the haves, the ones that have it all, are going to help the have-nots, and it's not. It's just going to increase the wage gap. It's going to increase the wealth gap, I should say. It's going to increase the wealth gap at the end of the day, and it makes less competition for those at the top. Why would you make more competition for yourself if you're at the top? Doesn't really make sense, you know. I mean, if you're in competition, you're gonna, you know, stay at the top and not have to fight the people at the bottom, because therefore you just keep them at the bottom, and it's, you know, lonely at the top, but it's less competition up there. So with that moving forward, as we see that's what's going on, and we have the she economy that's pulling in 30, where women are going to be in control of like 34. I mean, they're going to be in control of $34 trillion, but like 75% of women or whatever, they'll be in control of 75% of that 34 trillion. So they have this huge amount of wealth that women are going to be in control of moving forward. So when we look at that, we see that this whole battle is going on between rich people at the very top. That's all we're seeing. The wealthy at the top are just getting wealthier and wealthier, and it's like the men and women are fighting for wealth at the top at the end of the day. And then some people down here at the bottom, the workers, the peasants, may think that these people might have their best interest in hand, but that's not the case. No. It doesn't work like that. Basically, to sum it up, this is what it is. If you're rich at the top and you get the poor at the bottom, this is how you think of the poor at the bottom.
FYM. Fuck y'all motherfuckers, you know?
And that's how we're moving forward. So with that being said, I'm going to pull up this other lady, and she's going to speak on how she feels about her decisions that she made. She had made some decisions about working and achieving, you know, the goals of feminism, or as far as doing the whole girl boss thing. But we're going to listen to her talk, and we're going to see if she's coming from the perspective of an elite woman or a lower wage working peasant woman or poor woman. So we're going to see which woman is talking, and we're going to see what her outlook on life is after all the years of her, you know, I guess you could say girl bossing it up and all that stuff. So we're going to see what this woman has to say about said situation that she's done. Where's my, hold on one second. There it is. Okay. I thought I didn't have my YouTube on. So we're going to see what this lady has to say. What was that? I'm tripping. I thought something's like thumping. I don't know what that is. It's weird. I keep hearing it. Okay. I don't know. Sorry. Anyway, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at this video to get an understanding, because when we look at this and you pay attention to the macro scale of things, it gives you an understanding of the direction that we're headed in as a society. It's already clear as day which direction we're headed in. It's really no doubt. I mean, because we're already on what day are we on? We are on day 19 or 20 of the government shutdown as well. So the government is still shut down, and we're still dealing with that. But we're going to look at this woman. We're going to let her talk. We're going to see how she explains how she feels about working as a woman, and if it was a pro or if it was a con. And then with that being said, do you think she's an elite woman or a peasant or a wage working woman or a poorer woman? And see if her mindset will encapsulate the elite woman or the lower wage or working woman, because we're basically in a two-tier system in life right now. So let's go ahead and pull this up on the screen, and we're going to listen to what she has to say. Not going to watch the whole thing, but we're going to watch some. So here we go.
That's not my position, but I want to ask the question.
I think in this book I talk a little bit about feminism, because I avoid the word feminism, so let's continue to avoid the word feminism and go right back to the question: were we wrong to encourage women to go into the workforce, to encourage
mothers in particular
to work, encourage? And
by the way, this video is 3 years old, so Also doing that's why I should add it as well. Also, we were doing a timeline. So if you look at the first video, we did a timeline from 2015 to 2019, and we're moving all the way up. So now we've already went through COVID or the strong flu 19. Now we're past COVID and we're in 2022 now. Previously in that last video, we were like pre-COVID, so we were kind of seeing like the momentum that everything had going on. Now that we passed COVID and this lady is in 2022 and she's speaking on the situation, so now we're going to see how the mind shift changes. But is it changing for elite women or is it changing for poor women? And we're going to see how, you know, she feels and try to determine if this is elite level way of thinking or if this is just a regular wage woman a poor woman way of thinking, and to see how the world is going to move forward dealing with the she economy. So let's go and pull that back up and continue. So here we go.
And I think I'm going to say, yes, we were wrong. That is wrong to encourage mothers to go into the workplace as if that is normal, as if that is to be desired, as if that is superior to the raising of children. I think that was a wrong turn. I definitely think that was a wrong turn. And it's a wrong turn that many women have suffered greatly from. Greatly. Okay, Matt?
How so? What's your experience been in talking to these women?
Oh, honey. Oh. Well, okay, so I was born in 1953. So that means I came of age when all of this stuff was coming of age, right? And I was very drawn to the idea that I should get a job, that I should have an education. I was good in school, you know, and I had intellectually a lot of intellectual interests, and you know, so I was very drawn to careerism, what I would call careerism.
So far, what it's looking like is she's seeming like the way she's thinking and everything, it seems like she's the bottom of the totem pole, like the lower age, not the elite class, but the lower class. And she was in the 70s. So she was in the thick of it, basically. She was out there doing drugs and partying and having a good time and all that good stuff. And what I was referring to earlier, and she's basically was in the thick of watching the she economy drive forward. So right now we're in the thick of a she economy, even though the way the finances are, the way we're all having hard times with jobs, the stock market's still at an all-time high. The she economy is still thriving and pushing forth regardless of what anybody thinks. That's still a big, significant player in today's role, because the women who are driving the she economy are going to be either your elite women up top or your lower working women at the bottom, which is doing the oldest profession known to man, which is going to be the prostitution at the bottom, even at the top level too. But you're going to have the elite women having higher paying jobs and doing things of that nature, trying to take care of the wealth gap. But then you have the lower class women who are still getting, interaction with men, but still pursuing forth doing prostitution to get by. And I have it right here. Since the she economy is going to increase the economic power of women, particularly consumer spending, entrepreneurship, and financial influence. By 2030, women will be projected to control $34 trillion of investable assets driven by inheritance, divorce, and career success. So there's not going to be a lot of women that's going to have career success. Divorce is still going to be a thing, of course. We all know that. And inheritance. A lot of people have had a lot of girls lately. I've been noticing that. A lot of people have had a lot of girls. So they may be trying to, at some point, the inheritance thing might change. They may try to, I guess the inheritance doesn't have to change, but the mindset of when a woman gets the inheritance will change, and she'll be more up to have the money for herself and know how to utilize it, as opposed to, like the last lady said, give it away when she gets a man. So it's going to change significantly. And a lot of the stuff that women are going to be usually consuming is going to be like fashion, travel, eating out, and things of that nature. It doesn't matter what tier woman you are, those things are going to be utilized. You're going to eat out, you're going to deal with fashion and health and beauty and all that stuff. So those things are going to be still dominated by both tier women. So the financial markets, the stock markets are still going to drive up. They're still going to go up while that's going on, because men are still going to be playing with all these different women for sure. And women are still going to be using health and beauty products and things of that nature. That's never going to change. So the she economy moving forward is going to be a driving factor of how markets are going to move. And those are the things you might want to pay attention to. Even if we go into an economic downturn of, a Great Depression or whatever we're headed in right now, even though things are going bad, certain markets are still going to continue to flourish. They're not going to stop flourishing. They're still going to flourish, because even if economy is bad, people are still going to be out here fornicating like it's nobody's business. Like, people are still going to be out here getting it in. That's not going to change at all. That's still going to be a thing. Makeup and beauty is still going to be a thing, and it's a different world that we live in now. So therefore, women of all are going to choose to have access to top men up here. So the whole feminism thing of an elite woman and a wage or poor woman, that mindset, it's going to cause a issue, but only when age is a factor. Like how what this lady is talking about, it'll only be an issue when age become a factor. And it's only going to be the rich and the few at the top, and then the many and the poor at the bottom. But let's let this lady continue with what she's saying. Let me pull it back up on the screen, and let's let her continue talking a little bit. So here we go.
But you don't see the downside of it until it's too late to do anything about it. And so in my case, the particular downside of it was I postponed childbearing for so long that we ended up with a long period of infertility. Okay? And that, for me, that was the crisis. That's when I came back to the faith.
Wow.
See, I was a cradle Catholic, memorized the Baltimore Catechism in 4th grade.
Okay, so she came back to the faith after the fact that, it was too late. I wonder if she has any kids, though. That's what I'm curious on. Does she have kids? But coming back to the faith and doing everything backwards. And I'm not going to sit here and say I've done everything perfect and done everything the right way, because I haven't. But you start to realize that all the old teachings and ancient teachings that we've ever had and ever learned about, you're going to realize that they hold truth. People always want to say they want to be progressive and modernize things, but the principles of the old ways still stand the test of time. You can't change the way that old ways have taught you how to navigate through life. There's too many stories in the Bible or any teaching of that nature that will tell you when you go against or when you go out of whack with a certain structure that you're supposed to live by, and to live a life of peace and prosperity and happiness. When you go against that or outside of that, there's a consequence with that. There's too many stories that teach you that. It tells you that. And if you stay in harmony and do things the right way, and try to live the right way and do things right, and have kids within marriage, and have a family unit and do everything the right way, you're usually going to have a better trajectory in the long run. You do anything backwards or go against it, then you're going to find out pain on the back end. So this is kind of what she's explaining to us here, but let's let her continue. Here we go.
Thomism for children, as I'm sure you know.
Sure,
that's what that is.
Essentially.
So I abandoned the faith, but it was infertility that brought me back to the faith, because this is where I could see that I'm not in control of everything. I can't control the outcome, get everything I want by working harder, being smart, so on and so forth. But by the time you are in your mid-30s and struggling to conceive, you look back and you go, criminy, I can't fix this problem. I can't go back to my 20s. I can't go back and undo the sexual misadventures that I had that led me here, that led me to postpone marriage, and all of those things. The priority that I put on my education, the priority that I put on my career, the way I treated my husband because of that,
How did you treat your husband?
Let me finish this one thought. I'll go back to it. All of that, I couldn't go back and get that lost time. And whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, there is a ticking fertility clock. That's a reality. And so millions of women have had.
Now, she's talking about a ticking clock. Now, if we look at it now, this, like I said, this is 3 years ago, and this is what she's saying. But if we look at it now, ain't nobody's really trying to hear about a ticking clock because the cost of living is so expensive, and then we got a government shutdown. So it's proven that nobody is safe. Walmart's already said they're having a hiring freeze for 3 years. So they're basically gonna restructure the workforce, probably more than likely utilizing AI. A lot of entry jobs are basically gone because of AI. So there's a lot of things that are, even though she's saying she would like to go and, go back and, instead of putting so much stuff on her career, she wants to turn around and, do things differently and focus on the things that she thought she had control over, but she didn't. But if you look at it now, a lot of people looking at the finances, they're like, right now is not a good time to bring a child into this world, and then for people who do have a child into this world, if you're living off of the, food stamps and things of that nature, right now the government's shut down. So there's a world of pain right now because you're not sure if you're going to get assistance. If you have anything dealing with government assistance whatsoever, all that is being put on hold. All of it's being stopped. So instead of people relying on each other, you're seeing how many people were relying on the government. And when the government shuts down and the government does what I call that good old rug pull, because it always does it, then it's going to cause a chaotic situation. And then through that chaotic situation, you're going to realize that your order of things you were doing things in was not in line with what was taught over ancient texts and books and Bibles and all that stuff. It never teaches you to walk in alignment with the government. It tries to teach you to be harmonious with each other. Walk amongst your fellow man and fellow woman, you know what I mean? And work together as people in harmony. But everybody's got their hand, milking the government titty. And then when the government's like, hey, I ain't got no milk, they're like, well, I was depending on you for the milk. It's like, well, nobody told you to do that. So at this point, imagine what she's saying now, but put it in today's time. Now, if women want to go back and change it, it's going to be too hard because the finances, and not just on women, but men too. It's going to be hard for both parties, So it's not going to be easy to make this decision to go back and try to do things the right way. The mindset shift has to start early, or it needs to happen earlier. You got to figure out which way you're trying to go or what you're trying to do immediately, like early in life. Because what she was describing was a great path for a man. Like what she described, that was a great path for a man to take, you know what I mean? But then on top of that, she was married. So I'm pretty sure in a minute we're going to let her talk. We're going to see if she was competing with her husband as opposed to living harmonious with her husband. Hopefully she don't use the word partner, because I don't use the word partner over here. Whenever I hear partner, I'm like, yeah, you're screwed. It needs to be spouse or husband or wife. But we're gonna see if she was competing with her husband to see what kind of home she was providing for her and her spouse. Because if she was getting all these degrees and doing all these things and putting off childbearing, she was just operating in the same energy a man would be operating in, and that's just causing friction at home. And then your marriage is supposed to be about bringing kids in. Like, why would you get married and not have any kids? You know what I mean? I'm not saying like get married and immediately have kids. No. But I mean, at some point, you're going to bring kids in. So I want to see exactly what she says, how her marriage went with her focused on man-made things. She was focused on man-made driven career and a man-made, and the career, whenever she talks about a career, it's never entrepreneurship. It's always advancing in a company, advancing in a business, advancing in something other than themselves. Instead of growing themselves, they grow a company that grows for somebody else. But let's see exactly how this pans out with her relationship with her husband. So let's see. Here we go.
The exact same experience, and every last one of them thinks they're the only one. I mean, it's horrible. When you really think about that, it's horrible. In the meantime, Phyllis Schlafly was trying to tell us.
Who's this?
Phyllis Schlafly. Oh, okay. She's not important in a way.
Okay, that's all right.
The previous generation was trying to tell us that it's possible to raise your children and then go to college and then go to law school. That's possible. That option has been there for a long time, but nobody ever talked about that as a correct path for women, which tells you that there was something corrupting about that form of feminism and that messaging and all that. That was about something else other than women's choice and empowerment. See, that's you then take the next step to think, I was sold a bill of goods there. But anyway,
that's actually a good point. Having your kids early, and then by the time you turn 40, 45, all of your kids are grown, all of your kids out the house, and then you can go to college and then get the degree and then become, a lawyer or something. Because, I mean, everybody wants an older lawyer, because there's more wisdom, a older doctor, there's more wisdom. You usually see wisdom in a older version. If you ever hired an attorney, if you ever hired a lawyer, you usually look for a lawyer with age on them. You don't look for a young lawyer, you look for an older lawyer. So for these jobs and professions that they're going into, you usually want the older version of them anyway. Because, they've already dealt with life, they've been through situations, they have an understanding, they have a respect about themselves and a respect about things, and they understand character of people behind the titles that people have. So, and plus it gives them something to do on the back end of life. You know what I mean? It actually, like, for women, it gives them something to do on the back end of life. So then it's like, well, if she wants to go out there and, as far as the marriage go, if her and her husband are still married, the kids are gone, and she wants to go to college and do all this stuff, if the money was made right and invested properly, then she can go in and go to school and go do all this, and now she can go out be the breadwinner, and she can go out and do all this stuff at 45, 50, 55, 60 and be these things. She can go out there and just have at it. And then he could take a back seat but still contribute along the way, of course. He'll be able to live a life of investing as she's going on and continue to bring money to the family now, because she's really not taking care of the family as much as she is taking care of just them two. But of course, you're still going to take care of your kids. But it's just a way for women to kind of project and keep going after, the most fertile years of their life is done. And it would keep both parties, I believe. It would keep them sharp mentally. It would keep them both sharp. But, like she said, nobody ever told them that. She said somebody previously did. I don't know who the lady she was referring to was. But like I said, there was always a warning, or like I said, ancient texts taught us this. She even mentioned that somebody previously was trying to tell them, like, hey, there's a way to do this the right way. But everything has been done in reverse and being done backwards. So now everybody is seeing this reverberating consequence that everybody's dealing with on the back end. And it's not pretty. It's not good at all. But let's let her continue and pull this back up, and let's let her keep going.
Anyway, the point is that once you figure out that it was that priority that you placed was incorrect, it's too late to do anything about it. And the other thing and
that's the thing, the priority. School and college ain't going nowhere. Your fertility window is. You know what I mean? Like, school and college, that's always going to be there. But your window for fertility to have children, it will. And of course, nowadays, they try to keep making you push it back and push it back. But nowadays, life is so expensive that nobody even wants to, take the chance of having kids, because we live in a very uncertain time right now. Everything is super expensive. We live in a two-tier society. And remember, she's in 2022 talking about this. So the cost of living from 2022 to now has changed. The dynamic of life has changed in just a short amount of time, of 3 years. So even what she's saying right then and there, it's showing, the structure of doing things the right way. So therefore, when times do get hard and we live on times that we're on now, the discipline and the structure of doing things the correct way, you won't hinder and fall during economic hard times, because everything is an economic cycle. And what she's speaking on underneath all of this is an economic cycle. She's speaking on the time where economics was doing good. You know what I mean? She said she was born in 50 something. So like in the 70s and 80s, you know, the economy, it wasn't nowhere near as expensive as it is now. It had its ups and downs, but she's lived through some very prosperous times. You know what I mean? She's lived through the 90s and she lived through the early 2000s. And then after, you know, the housing market in 2008, she lived through a bunch of, you know, prosperous times. You know, she's seen a lot of good up and ups. But now we're going into a humongous crash, and it's like this is the time where everybody should have been preparing for this economic cycle, and now we're seeing the consequences of not preparing for an economic cycle or an economic crash, and doing things the wrong way. A constant doing things the wrong way, because she said even way back in the 70s this feminism thing was going on. And if it was going on flustering till it hits a point where it's like, all right, this can't keep going on, because if it keeps going on, it's going to destroy. However, it's destroying now, but it's destroying everyone because everyone was out of line and out of whack doing things the wrong way. So let's let her keep going.
Has happened as a result of that whole let's push women into the labor force is that they don't look for spouses at a time when they should be looking for spouses. It affects how we interact, male and female, you know, the expectations we have of each other. And now I'll answer your question, what about my husband? How was I treating my husband? Okay, so I had it in mind, as the feminists have told us, that we must have equality in the home, in the work in the home, because that's what's really holding women back. What's holding women back is their husbands aren't doing enough of the chores. Okay, so you fool around with that for very long, you're going to create a lot of dissension and you know, ill at ease inside the home, right? And you know, and I was doing that.
You begin to look at your husband like the enemy who refuses to play his part in the household duties.
Exactly. You're competing with your husband instead of loving your husband, instead of cooperating, instead of collaborating. You're competing with each other.
And like she's saying right there, if you would have been cooperating, and I'm not calling her wrong for anything that she did whatsoever. I'm not saying that she's a bad woman or like, oh, see, women. No, that's not what I'm going at. I'm looking at it from the big picture. She's pointing it out clearly. She's like, I'm over to compete with him when I should just be loving and being in harmony with him and working together with him. It made more sense. Because then now as time goes on, you realize that the structure of how things were being done was backwards. You were doing it all backwards. Like, yeah, you got married, but when you got married, it wasn't through better or worse or sickness and health. It was like, I'm in competition with, I got married to be in competition with this fool. You know what I mean? It's like, I got married. Now that I'm married, now the competition begins. And it's like, it shouldn't be a competition between the two. You two should be working harmoniously together to get through what, you know, the government is going to try to put you through, because there's an economic cycle that we're all facing. You know, that's how people should look at it. You get married, you have to understand, like, hey, look, it's us versus government. That's who we're up against, you know, and it's not just the government, it's people higher than that, but understand that it's us versus the government. So we don't want to be dependent on them. And whenever the government does things to its citizens, we don't want to be victims of, you know, whatever it is that they choose to do to the citizens. And that's what we're seeing now. A lot of people didn't pay attention to what the government was doing. They were like, oh, the government's going to take care of us. That's not what they're there for. No, we're supposed to be able to navigate outside of the government. But when you listen to, you know, the feminist way of thinking, you're listening to what the government wants you to think. So in the end, you can be isolated and dependent and used as a casualty of any kind of warfare whatsoever, that they can just, you know, toil over you. And and if there's two of y'all out the house, as we all know, there's two different people paying taxes. So they're getting double the money, as opposed to getting married and thinking to each other like, hey, We want to be able to raise kids and be financially sound to navigate away from the government whenever the government pulls the shenanigans. And because we know that that's going to happen. They do it all the time. They've done it. There's countless history texts we can go over and look at how many times the government has done things that's caused issues to people, but not to the people who are calling the shots. You know, the Vietnam War. Did any politicians go to war for the Vietnam War? No. Did any of their kids get murdered? No. World War II. Did any of the politicians' kids? No. Did they family go to war? No. But yet, we continue to go through these economic cycles and being okay with being reliant on the government. If you have to be reliant on the government, it's okay. That's what they're there for. But you would use them to get off of using them. You use it to, because you fall on hard times, you get in a pickle. That's cool. It happens. You use them, utilize them for what you need, pay back whatever debts you owe, and then get off of it and, press on with life. That's what you want to do if you get into that situation, but you always want to be in a situation where you don't have to rely on a government entity whatsoever. But with her, what she's saying, and what the whole, I guess you could say, the overall premise of everything was, you're listening to a system that's not benefiting the way of natural order is going to bring you peace in the long run. In the long run, it brought you chaos. And she's seeing it now. She's like, if I would have just went the natural way, like ancient texts have told us, there's a way to live harmonious amongst each other, which in the long run will have a harmonious existence. It's not going to be a nice, smooth ride, but on the long end, you'll be good if you do it right. Stressful, but still you'll be good. On the other end, it's going to look more chaotic because it's not just all about money. There's more pieces to it than that, although money does help a tremendous amount. But she's seeing it on the other end, and she's looking back and she's like, man, ugh. Like, if I would have just thought of it the right way and thought to myself, who is telling me to fight this person that I'm marrying? And it goes both ways. I'm not just harking on one side, because men have their faults too. Men do wrong stuff too. So it's not sitting here to saying that women bad, men good. But I'm looking at it on the big scheme of things. Is that it should be man and woman versus staying out of the government system or navigating around the government system. So when the government's like, hey, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to implement this. Oh, we're raising the property taxes to this. You're okay navigating around, the nonsense that's being imposed. And you're raising children and all this good stuff, harmoniously living along the way, not having it to deal with any issues. And if you see an economic situation coming, you can look down a pipeline and see it. Okay, this is about to happen. We can see this coming a mile away. Prepare for it. Years in advance. Get ready for it. You know what's coming. So when it happens, you kind of sit back like, okay, like we're going through it. Now we're able to weather the storm because we prepared. We didn't react. We were pro-reactive. Is that the right word? We didn't react. We were proactive. There you go, proactive. But let's let her go a little bit more, then we're going to move on. So here we go.
And I can honestly say to you, Matt, that infertility was the first time in our marriage where it was really, really obvious that men and women are different. And it's like, that is really stinking weird that it took that long to figure that out. But the truth is, this wanting to conceive and being unable to conceive cuts to the heart of your maleness and your femaleness, and we each reacted to it in different ways. It meant something different to him than it meant to me. And in order for us to live together, in order for us to pass through that experience together, I had to be willing to accept that this was not parallel, perfect reciprocity going on here. That he had his own path, that he had his own needs. And same with me. I expected him to understand me perfectly. Well, maybe I should give him a break and try to understand him, on his terms instead of on my terms all the time, So I didn't expect this, Matt, but to In my spirit of being forthright, I think the question you asked was a good question because it was focused on one thing. And I have to say, I think it was a mistake. I think it's still a mistake to tell women that their highest priority is to go to work. And
maybe not even just their highest priority. Maybe that's not strong enough, but maybe it's just.
All right. So as you can see here, like I said, she's in that interview was 2022. So that's 3 years ago. So now looking back, hindsight's 2020. And, you know, she was even trying to sound the alarm then. And as we all know, 2022, people were still going off and doing what they wanted to do. I mean, you know, it was still good times and party times and get money and all that stuff. It was still going good. But she was one to show you that with age and how things, you know, didn't work out in her favor, and she was learning. And look who she learned from. It's the system where she learned all this. She went to school and everything, went and got educated, all that stuff. And the whole ideology that she had in her head, you know, the whole ideology that she was dealing with, the whole feminism thing that she was battling and being in competition with her husband and stuff like that. In the long run, you know, the man still, if the man could still be the beneficiary, because at how old she is at that age, there's a good chance the man can still produce kids. He can still go out there and produce kids at whatever age that she's at. But looking at this on a long looking at this from a long trajectory from then to now, as she explained everything that she said, seeing that it was a bad move and it didn't have a good impact on it, and to think who put that bug in your ear to think this way, who put that in your ear to think, you know, feminism was the right mindset. Because remember the first woman I showed you, she broke down that there's 2 tiers of feminism. You got the elite women of feminism, you got the peasant women of feminism. And the way she was talking, she seemed like the peasant woman of feminism, the wage gap lady, you know, at the bottom, trying to restructure marriage. Men should work together. Men and women should work together. However, we're going to reorganize and redo this thing called marriage with the man. We're equal to each other and all that. But it's still chaos in the end. With the elite women, with their feminism up here was, you know, they're already born into wealth. So they're like, we don't want to give away our wealth. And then we want more. We want to have, you know, better investments and better this. And we want to also be in prominent positions. And we want to be in skill positions. And we want to be in, you know, positions of control and power at a higher level. But it's still not going to benefit the overall consensus of people. You know, because this feminism thinks if this feminism gets on top, then it can help everybody at the bottom, but it's not. You just having another gender dominating the world. You know what I mean? You just have another gender dominating the ones up top. So when you go on and you see how this plays out, and we move forward to today, then we have things kind of like this. Let me go on to the next thing right here. So this says right here, as you can see, let me see if you can see it right here. It says another she session is rearing its head and women are leaving the workforce at an alarming rate. And this was this year. This was about a month. This was maybe about a week or 2 ago. That article came up on CNN where they had mentioned that the she economy is going through a she recession, but it's going through a she recession of wage working women and women with no kids. Oh, no. Wage working women and women with kids are going through a she recession. And they're having a, you know, really hard time dealing with what's going on. Because remember, we're moving into a she economy. But with this she economy, it's, regardless, it's still turning into a 2-tier system. So looking at the she recession hitting, let's take a look at how it's affecting women on that end into a she economy. So even though we're going into a she economy, we got nearly 500,000 women have left their jobs so far this year. Here's why. And this is October 17th, 2025. So in their words, more than 450,000 women have dropped out of the U.S. labor market since January. And outside the pandemic, it's one of the steepest declines on record. While this is a confluence of factors at play, the surge has been driven largely by women with young children. See? The broader trend, however, has economists sounding the alarm that loosens not only could erase the historic gains women have made since the pandemic, but also reshape the labor force for years to come. Now, when you see the surge has been driven largely by women with young children, this is going to have like that double-edged sword, because some people are going to say, see, look, you see what happens when women have kids? But it's like, women having kids is not a problem. It's women who have young kids, but they didn't stay in a relationship with the father. So therefore, they're dependent on government assistance. You know, the housing, the food assistance, the educational system. When you replace each other with a governmental entity, you're gonna have a problem. That's just what it is. Like, we were meant to work with each other against the government system, but we kick one another out and replace one another with the government system, and then wonder why when the government does what it does, changes and ups and downs and stuff like that, then we wonder why things aren't going. We weren't supposed to be, you're not supposed to be married to the government. You're supposed to be married to each other. Go through the ups and downs of what the government throws at you together. Not, well, the government shut down, but you still owe me. It's like they don't owe you nothing. Remember, you're a taxpayer to them, and your kids are future taxpayers to them. You just gave them more money. They don't care about your kids either. So when you look at it from that perspective, you get an understanding as to there's a certain way we're supposed to do things. And everybody knows what to do. You're not supposed to drink, not supposed to smoke, not supposed to be having kids out of wedlock and all that. We all know like the things you're not supposed to do. We know these things inherently. But then legal things get put into place that make these things okay until they're not okay. And then we're seeing that now play out. But let's continue. CNN heard hundreds of women who left their jobs this year, some by choice, plenty not. Here are some of the experiences, and entries have been edited for length and clarity. So you have black women who recently left jobs at a progressive nonprofit. On the surface, I left because of burnout, the constant emergencies, the instability and toll of working in fear-based environments for years. But the deeper reason was more personal. I couldn't see myself becoming a mother in that environment. No, you can't. It's not going to work. As a C-suite executive and a mother of 2 young children, I was expected to be available for last-minute client meetings while also managing every detail of home and family life. The juggling made burnout inevitable. It wasn't one big breaking point. It was a slow accumulation of unrealistic demands that made it clear the system wasn't built to support working mothers. And it's not. The system is not built to support working mothers. It started out that way. It did. It started out that way, but always remember, there's a good old rug pull that the government is known for. They are top tier rug pullers. They will pull that rug on you in a minute. They will pull that rug on you like it ain't nobody's business. And like I say, they keep giving you some, it feels good. Oh yeah, here you want some housing? Here you go. You want some education for your kids? Here you go. Hey, you also help you get some clothes for your kids too. Here's some health care for your kids. All that is good. And then all it takes, they hook you on it. In this situation, this is what, years and decades of hooking people on it to the point where they believe that they're entitled to it. You're not entitled to anything the government hands out. You shouldn't want government handouts unless you have to take them. But you always want to stay away from government handouts. It's the worst thing you can be under, because when times like this happen, what do? You know, what do you do? But let's continue. Childcare is unaffordable across the U.S. Most childcare for infants can force women out of the workforce and back to caregiving duties. So get out of work and go right back to caregiving, which you were already there, but you force yourself out of it. It says in Mississippi, the cheapest childcare was $6,800 a year, and in D.C., this rose to $28,000. It shows infant care as a share of median income. So you have it in different areas right here. So then let's go on to the next one. Let's see. A textbook sandwich. A raging toddler, my child of fire, complete with a okay, I don't want to read that. This is my husband and I woke up our first child. We quickly faced a shock that so many other young families face. Childcare costs and a lack of availability. As of April 2025, my son was waitlisted at 9 childcare providers in my county, and we would be paying an average of $1,400 a month for 3 days per week. We did not qualify for any sort of childcare assistance subsidy. Financially, it wasn't sustainable, even with them doing it the right way. Even with them doing it the right way, it's still not working. Because people don't plan for economic cycles. People don't ever plan for economic cycles. You know, it's one thing to be married, but it's another thing to be financially sound and understand that there's economic cycles that we go through. And with these economic cycles, you know, you don't want to be job reliant. But if you have to, you got to do what you got to do. So a lot of the times, you know, you stay together and you stay with each other, but you're constantly not paying attention to the world around you. You're comfortable. You're not worried about the economic cycle that's going on. Prices go up, but it's like the frog in the, you know, the boiling pot, just slowly simmering, slowly turning it up. You're not worried because you're not burning yet, but it is getting hotter. You just not burning. It didn't scald you, but it's like it's hotter than it was last year than it was this year, or it's hotter this year than it was last year by like 2 degrees. You know, 1 degree here, 2 degree there, and you do that over a course of 20 years. It's like, you know what I mean? And you don't change anything, and your wage doesn't go up. You don't invest. All these things keep happening. So now, even in a healthy marriage, financially, you didn't do the right decisions to get you out of what inevitably happens because y'all didn't focus and understand that the government, you're against the government because that's the financial society that you live under. That's whose currency you use. So prices fluctuate, property taxes, home prices, mortgages, insurance, all those things. The whole time it's like you're against this government, but you don't pay attention to it. All right, so let's continue right here. So I just left my job to be a stay-at-home mom. The stress and pressure to manage both my career and my children were overwhelming. I figure I can always re-enter the workforce, but I can never get back to time with my kids. Exactly. For us, it was worth the financial sacrifice for the next few. Exactly. It was worth it for the next few years, and not just worth it for. It's worth it for the whole family, the kids, everybody. Everybody needed that. It says right here, the workplace is not what it was when I graduated in '88. Ageism is real, and subconscious biases are evident. In my household, I am the main source of income. With a junior in college and a sophomore in high school, I have set out hundreds of resumes, hired a coach, and landed the interviews, but not yet any opportunity. At 58, my plan was to teach at the college level for 5 to 10 years. Now I'm looking at fast-tracking this plan and working with a former colleague on a startup company. Corporate America has lost its way. Exactly. It has lost its way, and it's not a way you were supposed to follow. You were never supposed to follow the corporate way. You were never supposed to follow the corporate way. And that's what everybody's starting to see now, because now corporate has found a way to replace everybody with AI. Corporate has found a way to say, all right, well, we don't need y'all anymore. We don't need y'all. No, the entry level jobs, we don't need you. We could do without you. And let's look at this short video that I have right now. It says, while women are leaving the workforce in record numbers. It's a short video clip of about 4 minutes, but I'll interject in between. We might not watch the whole thing. But let's see why they say, why CBS Good Morning says why women are leaving in record numbers. And this video is from 2 months ago. So here we go.
You might want to sit for every man who statistic about who's employed in America and who's not. Since January, for every man who entered the workforce, 4 women left it. Wow. This year alone, here are the numbers. 44,000 men got jobs, while 212,000 women stopped working or looking for work. The percentage of working mothers with young children has dropped every single month since January, according to an analysis by the University of Kansas. While female employment had been declining for decades, employment for mothers actually soared post-pandemic, thanks in part to work-from-home flexibility. But that upward trend started to reverse this past January. So what changed? For starters, as you might be thinking, many employers, including the federal government, started rolling back work-from-home policies. And there's been a jump this year in the number of Fortune 500 companies requiring staff to return to the office. And listen to this. In more than 3/4 of the country, the average price of childcare for an infant is now higher than in-state college tuition. As they say, the math just ain't mathin'. And by the way,
infant care is more than college tuition. That's infant care is more than college tuition, bro. That is freaking ridiculous. And like that was just, this is 2 months ago. This is 2 months ago, okay? And this is just showing you what happens when you rely on a government entity who by definition, what the United States is, it's a corporation, it's a business. It's by definition, it's in the United States Code. It is a corporation. A corporation is a business ran to make money. So when they're making money and you're suffering, that means that the business is running the way it's supposed to run, because the money is being filtered to the corporations and not to its citizens. So what we're seeing here is it's doing what it's supposed to do. But what happens is people get tied up in like morality and thinking that they're not supposed to be doing this. What they're doing is wrong. And they're not doing nothing wrong. They're right. We supposed to be the one of a moral compass, not them. We're not supposed to. You're not supposed to expect the government to have a moral compass. You're supposed to expect the government to be about money, to be about business. You have to make that decision to have a moral compass on your own. That's for you to decide. That's for you to navigate. That's what the ancient texts and Bibles and all sorts of different ancient texts and books, they all line up to teach you. You are supposed to have that, not them. That's not on them. You were taught how to navigate outside of them. Or if you're going to navigate with them, understand how, the enemy works. And don't be rude to your enemy. Don't disrespect your enemy. But understand how your enemy works, because your enemy understands you. And know how to navigate it. And know how to stay on top of it financially and mentally and physically and spiritually. So what she's saying is like the math ain't mathin', but the math is mathin', because if you look at where the money is going to the corporations. So it's mathing correctly. It's just that the people's math ain't mathin' because they were depending on the government to keep providing that math for them instead of mathing it for themselves. But let's continue watching. Here we go. We got a little bit more. Here we go.
The way the United States is the only country with an advanced economy where the share of women in the workforce is declining, not growing. So here to talk about all of this is the person who analyzed this data, Misty Hegenis from the University of Kansas, who, by the way, again, served as principal economist at the Census Bureau previously. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. So what's happened here?
All right. Well, I don't want to hear what she has to say. You know what? I'm gonna give it 2 seconds.
I mean, I remember during the pandemic, so many mothers felt like, finally, I can try to make this work. Has the work from home changed? And now that people have to go back in the office?
Actually, there's nothing that needs to be said because they're so hell bent on speaking on the women as like in a singular thing, because they basically put a poll up there saying women and men, and it's like that shouldn't be the competition, but it is, because that's the propaganda that they gave to this lady right here. They gave this lady the propaganda earlier, remember? And, you know, she said by the time it was too late, by the time I realized what was really important, you know what I mean? It was too late. And, you know, I caused a lot of friction on my spouse because of the mindset that was given to me by these people here. And not just them, but like the whole system at hand, by the whole government system at hand. So, you know, they're over here believing in the government system. And she's like, I believed in it too. And I didn't follow the structure accordingly. And I got a rude awakening. Got a rude awakening. So it's working the way it's supposed to work. It's not doing anything wrong. So as you see, as we started back in 2015 from last time I did this show, it's part 2. It was getting a lot of steam. You know, the women were getting into work. And I'm not against women working. There's nothing wrong with a woman working. I really believe that now is the best time if you could be married to a woman that, if you as a man has got your stuff together and you can find a wife who will not divorce you, which is damn near impossible. As far as investments go, you have like a 70% chance of losing that. So like, why would you gamble that? But right now would be the best time to have a wife and a family, because if you play your cards right, you'll have, if a man has his stuff together, he gets him a woman, has kids, she can literally play on social media for fun and make money at home while the man is out working or doing investments. Like, she can play and make money via the attention that she gains from social media. She could utilize it, but you got to be careful that she doesn't get plagued by it. She doesn't start like looking around and like comparing y'all's marriages and then thinking she can do better, and then listening to what these women are saying, and then her mind starts to get filled up with these words of, you know, well, oh, well, you didn't help me with the dishes, you didn't help me do this, and then she starts competing with you. Now the devil get in your relationship, or the devil gets into her brain, and now starts causing y'all to have friction. Like, right now would be the best time for a family unit to thrive. If right now would be the best time for a family unit to thrive, but it just requires two minds to be on the same page. But you can't control free will over each party. You know, somebody's gonna make a bad decision. You got to let them make that bad decision. You know, you can speak with it with your spouse, but at the end of the day, you know, if they get too polluted and don't want to follow, you know, the rules and structure that you have laid down as a man, because you got your stuff together, she needs to be on your program and understand that you're going to guide her to where he needs to go. She can still work. She don't have to not to work. Her work could be more fun though. You know, her work could be fun. It could be something completely like, she was like, I didn't see myself doing this. You know what I mean? Like, she's thinking college and wanting to become something in corporate America, but it's like, wait till the kids grow up to become that or something. But then, you know, like that, like what it said in the last thing, it talked about ageism and people aging out of jobs and stuff like that. It's like, well, just play the attention game on social media. But then it's a double-edged sword, because, you know, what if she gets polluted with, you know, all the rhetoric that's on social media? But if you could have the right structure, right now is the best time for a new family or a family name, family legacy to thrive. Right now is the perfect time to do it. Like, this will be the greatest time. But what happens is the two genders ends up competing and fight with each other, and one don't need the other and stuff like that. As we see how this lady spoke on feminism plaguing her. She went to a marriage and looked at it as a competition. It's like, why are you in your house? Why do you want to live with somebody you're competing with? That don't make no sense. Why the hell would you marry somebody and think in your head, this is competition? Like, why would that cross your mind? As opposed, like, we finna get hella rich and we finna be living a great life in the future with investments panned out. And even if the man does tell that to her, and in the end, you can't control her free will. She can leave you or whatever. Or if y'all fall on hard times, things can go sour and go bad. Now, with all this being said, we're looking at this and we're seeing how everything changes. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at how AI is transforming the world of work, but it's transformed the world of work into the new world of work. So we're moving into a new world of work to where the structure of doing things the right way is more important than ever. However, if you can't stay strict to a moral code or a moral compass, you ain't never getting out of the chaotic whirlwind that's impending for majority of people. So let me go ahead and switch out this banner. We'll switch over to the AI segment of the show so we can sit here and go into depth about this. So let's go ahead and switch over to the AI.
Welcome to the AI segment of the show.
All right, so now we're in the AI segment of the show. Before we get started, let's go ahead and get a couple of fun things out the way because AI has been a trip lately. Let's take a look at some of the stuff AI been doing out here. Speaking of AI, AI's been doing some crazy stuff. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but for starters, we got stuff like this right here.
Here we go, round off, back handspring into the triple front.
Massive height.
And she opens.
The floor just gave way.
It shattered under her landing. Look at the hole. She's up.
Yeah, that shattered for sure, bro. That was not good, bro. Like, look at that. AI is getting crazy. They call it AI slop, but I don't know. It's getting better and better and better every time I look up. We got JFK here. Here we go.
Not to have the roof down, but you know what I told them? Dab on the haters.
I have a dream that I'm never gonna give you. I'm never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you.
Have you heard the good news? Taco Bell has Baja Blast back in stock. Blessings.
It's Jeff. We need to talk. Open up.
AI is wilding out here, bro. AI is going crazy. What we got here? Who is this? I'm doing good. Who is this? I don't know who you are, but what's going on? How are you? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Whoever you are. I can't say your name. It looks like a bunch of random letters across the keyboard, but what's good? How's life treating you? How's everything going? Then we got this right here, and some more Martin Luther King out here showing his riches and his jewels. Martin Luther King out here flossing and blinging. Showing my age with that bling, huh? Look at him. Got old Martin out here. Look at him showing the ring finger. Or he got the watch. He got the necklace on. He got the YN in the background. Look at him. Check him out. Straight flossing. Just ridiculousness, man. AI is getting out of hand, I tell you. It's getting too much. And then we got this one right here. Oh my goodness. You got to see this one right here. Check this out. Here we go. So we got this here. Another gymnast. Another thick gymnast.
Williams, final vault. The crowd on its feet. Incredible speed down the runway into the table. Look at that. That landing. The mat is gone.
Yes, the mat is gone. The mat is out of there. She destroyed the mat, boy. Whoever did AI is just ridiculous. Whoever did that. From Turkey. I just saw you from Turkey. Well, what's going on, man? Greetings from Turkey. Greetings from all the way. Shout out to my brother here from Turkey. What's up? What's going on, man? How you doing? What time is it out there in Turkey? I appreciate the follow. Thank you so much, man. What time is it out there in Turkey? How is life in Turkey? Over here in America, we're on an economic downturn right now. It's getting serious out here in these streets. How is Turkey living? How is Turkey life? I'd like to visit that country one day, man. 10:09 p.m. Jesus, you are 8 hours ahead of me. Woo-wee. It is daylight outside. It is nighttime where you at, isn't it? Oh my goodness. But shout out to you. I do appreciate the follow, man. Thank you so much for the support. Also, follow me on YouTube as well. This same show, I'm on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. So follow your boy. Go over on YouTube as well. I greatly appreciate it, man. And greetings to you all the way out to Turkey, man. For real. Much love out there on the other side of the world, man. Sheesh. Power of the internet. All the way in Turkey. One day I'm going to come to Turkey and visit. I would love to see what Turkey is like. I really would like to see that country for sure. That'll be one of my future trips in life. I have to see what Turkey's all about. It'll be one of my future trips. One of my future trips for sure. Especially for some food. I like to travel the world for some food. But then we got this right here. Let's check this out right here. So AI is at it once again. Here they go. Check this out. There we go. Blink. Oh, goodness. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. That looks gross. Oh, is that real or is that fake? Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow. Is that a high school game? Oh, my goodness. That looks like a high school football game. Buddy was running. Number 34, the offensive lineman. Look at him go. Man. Oh, got him, and he's going blick it. Oh, why did the ref get in the way? And he scored the touchdown. That's all that matters. But the ref did not make it. The ref is unalive. Yes, sir. My man is not living too well. He is not living. That ref took one for the team. Sucks to be him. All right, here we go. All right, so let me get back to the show real quick. So we're in the AI segment of the show. So I was talking about was how with the workforce of dealing with women, the she economy that we're going into, all the money that we're going into, and living life the way we're supposed to live life. But once we get out of order of what we're supposed to do, things don't go too well. And let me see what we got here. But I want to go here because everything's very expensive. So I think my buddy, I'm coming to America. Pray for me to come. Oh, you want to come to America because Turkey is too expensive? I think you picked the wrong time. I mean, I don't know how bad Turkey is compared to America. I mean, depending on what state. I'll say it like that. Depending on what state you go to. I think if you were to like move to like Alabama, you'll be okay. Maybe like New Mexico, you might be okay. Maybe Mississippi, you'll be okay. If you're looking for a lower cost of living, that is. Where else? I think that's probably gonna be the only states that have a low cost of living. Oh, North and South Dakota, you'll be okay. It's gonna be cold as hell. I think those would probably be your best pick for like a lower cost of living, because everywhere else over here in America, man, it is dumb expensive. It's not looking too shabby. It's really expensive out here in America. I don't know if it's a global issue, which I think it is, but it's not looking too shabby. It's very expensive. I mean, how bad is it in Turkey? How expensive could it be in Turkey right now? Like, you making it seem like it's like super bad. Like, how bad do y'all have it in Turkey as far as y'all's cost of living? Wait a minute. I think I spoke to somebody about Turkey before. A friend of mine crossed the border from Mexico to America, stayed in the camp and went to court. Oh no. Stayed in the camp and went to court. Oh no. Oh no, that doesn't sound very good. He went to court? You don't want to go to court, bro. Stay out of court. Stay out of court. Hell no. Hopefully your friend's okay. Don't want to be going to court, bro. That's not good at all. And what should I call you? Because your screen name is a bunch of fingers on the keyboard. What should I call you? Give me a name if you don't mind. Anything. But hopefully your buddy is okay. Otherwise, they don't give visas, bro. Well, they just changed that. Well, I don't know. Okay, a work visa is different. I think Donald Trump just upped the work visa to like $100,000, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know other ways to get visas. I mean, maybe marriage, domestic violence. I'm sorry. But I think that's actually a way to get a visa is domestic violence. But you ain't hear that from me. You ain't hear that from me. You didn't hear that from me. What else? What's another way to get a visa? I don't know all the ways to get visas. I do know marriage and the other way that I'm laughing about. But right now everything is rough. Like you don't know if you've been paying attention. Like they've been cracking down on people who come over here. You gotta go you gotta do the illegal way. Because people who was coming in here illegally and undocumented, Trump ain't having it. He's not playing no games. We don't want the government shut down right now. Shut down the whole government right now. Like, Americans is hurting. Americans is in pain. In some serious pain right now. Like, it's not looking too shabby. The only people who are thriving are entrepreneurs or OnlyFans models and people who are higher up in companies. That's really about it. But other than that, hopefully your buddy's okay though, because I don't wish bad on nobody, especially stayed in the camp and went to court. That does not sound like a good entrance at all. It's not. How did he get here? I mean, he had to fly. I mean, Turkey to America ain't no straight driving route. So he bought the ticket, flew. Wait, you said he came. No, wait. A friend of mine crossed the border from Mexico to America. You clearly said that. Went from Mexico to America and stayed in the camp and went to court. Ugh. And right now, Trump ain't too happy with Mexico right about now. So that's the wrong country to cross over from. Yeah, he picked the wrong time. America is a dream, yes, but I'm chasing that dream and trying, bro. Man, I'll tell you what. Speaking of dream, I'm not gonna out him. I know a person who is from Hungary. I believe it's from Hungary. He said when he was little, his thing was to come to America as his American dream. And he's like, and now I'm like, I mean, technically speaking, I told him, I said, technically speaking, we're about the same age. I said, your dream was correct as a kid, because growing up here, it was fantastic. And it still is. It's not horrible. I mean, you won't know unless you go to other places, but your dream was right as a kid, because the cost of living and how life was growing up as a kid, yeah, you were good. You know what I mean? I remember growing up as a kid, gas 99 cents. I remember when we went crazy when we saw $1.30. We were like, oh my God, gas is expensive, $1.30. And now we like, Lord, please let gas be $1.30. let do anything for gas to be $1.30 again. But I say that to say this, like his dream as a kid coming to America was good. And he's like, now, man, it's like, I'm gonna have to move. I'm like, I don't blame you. Like it's getting tough, man. It's getting rough, man. It's getting rough out here. Like for sure. It's getting rough. But I don't know who did I speak to about Turkey? I spoke to somebody about Turkey. I can't remember who it was. Don't y'all, let me see, your currency. Like, don't y'all, like, correct me if I'm wrong. Do y'all use y'all's currency, or do y'all have to immediately exchange your currency as soon as you get it to use something else? Like, kind of like, in a sense, like Venezuela almost. Like, as soon as you get your currency, you want to exchange it, because you never know, the next day it might have went down or whatever, like the currency might have devalued that quick. Is that in Turkey as well? Or do I got my countries mixed up? I'm not sure. I'm kind of, because I remember, I think it was Turkey I talked to somebody about. Hopefully I ain't got my countries mixed up. It might have been Turkey. I believe it was. Because I even remember watching videos about it. It was crazy. Yeah. But let me jump back into this show real quick. Let me continue doing this thing right here. Where was I? Where are we? Oh, AI in the new world of work. Yes, that's where we are. Yes. So now we're at AI in the new world of work. So now we've went through the ranks of the she economy, women working, and feminism, getting us to where we're at right now. And like I said, I'm no negative proponent of women working. I'm all pro women work, nothing negative. I'm just speaking on the facts of where we are now in the world, and we all have a common issue. And this is where we're at. So hopefully everybody can pay attention to what's going on and not look at it as this whole gender divide and fight each other and all this stuff, because what's going on is real. It's really happening. So now we are at this new world of work. The new world of work and what you need to know about it. So let me go ahead and break it down to you. Let's take a look at this. We got the new world of work here, as you can see. Oh, whoops. And it shows right here, decoding the new world of work and what job seekers and employers need to know. So as we look right here, you scroll down because the world is changing. And right now we have skills and competence. So skills and competence you need to understand when they're dealing with the new world of work. All right. So you need to have a skills wallet, a digital portfolio of verified credentials. Competencies helps a former athlete transition to business, translating teamwork and performance under pressure. So we see that. So you want to have skills and competence. You also want to have good credentials. So degrees, no degrees, or experience-based credentials. Right now, we're seeing experience-based credentials are dang near trumping degrees. What we're seeing right now. Although degrees are still important, but right now we're seeing experience are kind of trumping degrees in a sense right now. Then digital badge. All right, this right here is getting a little scary. Digital badges are visual representations of credentials packed with important metadata. What the hell is a digital badge right there? That right there, this right here is pretty scary, because when you look at this, you're asking yourself, what is a digital badge? Well, issuing organization data issuance, skills or competence demonstrates and criteria for earning the badge. So I don't know if this is referring to certificates, or is this a future digital ID that's going to have all of your information packed on it for the new world of work? Because right now you see the UK is in a, the UK is now having a digital ID for anybody that wants to work in the UK. You got to have a digital ID now. I'm wondering if this is what this is referring to, the digital badges. All right. So right here, future forecast, digital badges in customer service and data analytics may help a retail associate's advance to regional operations manager. Okay, so maybe that's not what they're talking about, but then again, it could be. I don't know. Learning and employment records, LERS. So learning and employment records serves as the backbone for organizing and sharing credential information. All right. Interoperability. So to refers to the ability of different systems to communicate and exchange data seamlessly in context of the future of work. This means credential from different issuers. Information can flow between educational institutions, and data can be read and understood by various systems and platforms. So as you can see, moving into a new world of work, connecting talent with opportunity. Now, with this new world of work, it doesn't seem like it needs a new heap of employees, though. It's not very many employees that are going to be needed for this new world of work that we're moving into. And what does it require? You know, and what does it require, and who is it going to be benefiting? Is it benefiting what we talked about earlier, the upper elite of women in feminism, or the lower, poor layer of women that's in feminism? Okay, so we got to check this out and see which demographic is going to be moving forward. And as we can all figure it out, we see that the rich is going to dominate, or basically wealth gap the hell out of the poor, the less fortunate. And that's where we are now. So let's take a look at this video where it shows that AI is transforming the world of work, and see if we're ready for it. And let's see how AI is going to transform the world of work and exactly what it does. Let me see. So let me go ahead and start this video, and I'm going to read your thing on the side real quick, and then I'll get back to you. So give me 1 second. I don't know what your name is. I'm going to call you UG. I'm going to call you UG because your first two initials of your thing is UG. I'm going to call you UG, if that's cool. All right, so here we go. I'm going to pull this video up. AI is transforming the world of work. So let's get a sense of what the new world of work will look like. So here we go.
Artificial intelligence more broadly. There's a long history behind this technology. But really, when we talk about generative AI today, what we're talking about is really something that's emerged over the last 3 years, is translate between text, images, video, audio, even code. And now you're seeing that technology applied to lots of other types of patterns, including things like DNA even. And so the big turning point was with the launch of ChatGPT in 2022 at the end of that year, where for the first time, anybody, any user could literally just communicate directly, interact with a...
Hey, Eugene, I just read your thing. It says you work here, but unfortunately the money here is not enough. People are not valued in Turkey, especially the administration. Believe me, I work every day to make my language as if it were my native language. The information you provide is very valuable. I am glad you exist and nice to meet you, my buddy. And for example, you have to work for 12 months for the latest iPhone. Woo-wee, that is crazy. But sir, it is great to meet you too. And I'm glad I can provide you value to the content. So thank you so much for that, man. You motivate me. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I will continue to provide value for you with the content, man. Thank you for supporting and thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate that more than anything, man. Thank you so much. That warms my heart to hear. Give UG a round of applause for sure. Yes. All the way from Turkey. Sheesh. But man, 12 months just to get the latest iPhone. Sheesh, that is brutal. Like, yeah, that's brutal. So, okay, it won't take you 12 months here to get the latest iPhone. However, when you incorporate like rent, car payment, insurance, groceries, phone, and all that stuff, you put all the internet, lights, you put all that together, like it might take you 12 months to get a phone here. It just looks a little different. You know what I mean? It looks a little different to do so, but I see what you're saying though. Like it's a different beast out here, but I mean, it seems like it's like that all over the globe right now. And that's why the name of the game is to understand economic cycles, stay on top of it, put your head down, grind for 5, 10, 15 years, and then put your head up and see exactly what you did, but understand economic cycles and how to navigate with what's going on and eliminate mistakes as much as possible. Eliminate mistakes. You leave women alone for a good while. Like leave them alone, let women be, let them do their thing. Nothing against them. I love them, but just put them to the side for a minute, get your money up, focus on what you got to do. Learn as much as you can and stay focused on what you got to stay focused on to get yourself into a better position, because that's what it's all about. Is what you got to focus on doing. It's what we got to do. But I'm glad I can provide valuable content for you. I'm so good. Thank you for saying that, man. That really warms my heart. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me keep going with this right here. Let's see why AI is transforming the world of work into the new world of work. So let's continue this.
A generative AI system, and since then there's been a lot of these.
Since AI's explosion into public consciousness in 2022, we've also seen a huge push from businesses to harness the power of generative AI to streamline the workplace. The buzz of AI is being felt everywhere. But when talking to many business leaders, one wise person said to me that CEOs have bought Ferraris in the shape of state-of-the-art AI systems. They just haven't given any driving lessons to their staff. A survey of 10,000 desk workers found that the AI benefit that executives are most looking forward to is increased productivity among workers. But leaders' biggest concerns about embracing AI are around data security and privacy, followed by distrust in AI's accuracy and reliability.
What we see in the data is that the executive urgency to incorporate AI is at an all-time high, right? This has increased 7 times over the last 6 months. So this is the most top-of-mind thing for executives worldwide. But what's really interesting is 2/3 of our desk worker population are still not using this technology. So there's this really interesting disconnect.
Salesforce Global HQ in San Francisco is home to Slack's Workforce Lab, which studies how to make work better. The team there has been researching what motivates workers to use AI. I went to meet the head of the Workforce Lab and SVP of Research and Analytics, Christina Janza.
So what are the conditions that might make workers
more likely to trust AI or be interested to use it?
We've been really interested in sort of understanding this gap of executive urgency and employee adoption.
All right, so real quick. Well, not real quick. So now that we got that out of the way, what she just said is executive urgency and employee adoption. All right, so this is good for what she just said. She said executive urgency. So we can see where she is. She up here, executive urgency and employee adoption. So the wages, they're down here. So this can help you understand what this lady was saying. Okay, no, I take that back. What this lady was saying. All right, she was saying, I gotta go, my man. I have a small busy. I'll come back. Okay, appreciate you, UG. Thank you, man. But this goes back to what this lady was talking about. She was speaking on the two levels of feminism. Remember, you got the rich and you got the poor. She was so she's talking about how the bougie, was it the bourgeois? Is it the bourgeois, the bourgeois feminists at the top? How they see feminism differently, and then you have a peasant level feminist who are trying to do what this lady was doing. This lady was doing the peasant. No, this lady was doing the peasant type of feminism, right? This lady is doing the upper type of feminism. And she was saying that these two women, they don't see things the same. This one at the bottom, the peasant feminist, may think that, you know, she can hope that a woman will get at the top as a feminist and help the rest of the women at the bottom. But she's like, no, that's not going to happen. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? Because we know that in the future, a whole lot of women are going to be controlled. The elite women, the women at the top, are going to be in control of $34 trillion of investable assets. And that's going to be driven by inheritance, divorce, and career success. So when you got this amount, these women up here gonna be in control of $34 trillion, do you think they gonna try to help the women down here? No, they're not. And this is what she said. She said they're not gonna help them. They're not. And I'm not saying this is like anything on bad on women. It's the same thing can go for men too. But it's like the fight for feminism is pointless because it's not helping either side, because even with the women at the top up here, they're still dealing with fighting for a wealth gap. That's what they call it, a wealth gap. They're still at odds with whoever their counterpart is. In this context, it would be males. So she clearly stated you have what executives want and what was the word she used?
I've been really interested in sort of understanding this gap of executive urgency and employee adoption. And
executive urgency and employee adoption. Executive urgency and employee adoption. What we need and what we got to get y'all ready for at the bottom. We got to get y'all adapted to what we need up here. So she made it clear that the higher ups are the higher ups. And the peasants are the peasants. The poor class is the poor class. So it doesn't matter about feminist. It don't matter about left and right. It don't matter about red or blue. It don't matter about nothing. It's have and have nots, rich and poor. That's it. That's the whole premise of this thing. Nothing else. But to think any more of that would be delusional, or you would be foolish, because that's not how they see it. They don't see it that way. And that was what was it when I did the video on the Bolsheviks revolution, when you had that woman, she was like, she had an issue that she was dealing with, because she was a feminist, but she was a peasant level feminist. Like, that's what she was fighting for. She wasn't fighting for the bourgeois feminist up here, because she was like, they're not going to care about the women at the bottom. They got two different problems they fighting over. They got two different problems. And at the end of the day, feminism, it all resorts to government control. once the government get their hands on it, it's like it's not beneficial for everyone. I know everybody will say like, well, capitalism is bad too. True, but at least there's a way out. When you have feminism mixed with communism, there ain't no way out. You're stuck, you're trapped. I mean, unless you go to, because I've never heard of anybody running from a capitalist country to go to a communist country. I've heard of plenty of people say they ran out of their communist country to go to a capitalist country. I've heard that before, but never the other way around. So as you see what this woman just spoke about, she made it very clear that there's a executive urgency, but we got to adapt these employees or whatever to do what we need them to do. So that right there shows you the hierarchy in this AI transforming this new world of work. Let's continue.
So what we really wanted to do is let's better understand the humans, right? Why are the humans using it or not using it?
She said, let's better understand the humans. Ma'am, are you not a human too? The way she's talking tells you everything you need to know. How do we better understand the humans? Ma'am, you've been a human your whole life. Unless you a lizard person in like human disguise. Like, how do we understand the humans? Like, wow, this is showing you right here. This is showing you the AI and the new world of work we're going into. You got these people up here talking to you like this. They're looking down on you and they're talking to you like, how do we fix these humans? Like, what can we get these humans into? Because now we got robots and we got humans. We got two different kind of species we can deal with. Like, think about the way she's talking. Listen to how she's talking. Listen to this.
And so we did some research to really understand the emotions that people are feeling about AI. And we uncovered 5 different personas that sort of help us understand the AI workplace. The first one is called a maximalist. This is a person who's very excited about the technology. They use it very actively. The second persona, also using AI very actively, is called the underground. And the really interesting thing about the underground is although they're using it and getting a lot of value from it, they're hiding their usage. They're hiding their AI usage because they feel guilty and they feel like people are going to think that they're cheating. And then the next 3 are the ones that aren't really actively using AI. So the rebel is the person who feels like AI is a little bit of a threat. The superfan is very excited about AI, but they aren't using it themselves. They don't know how to start. And the final one is the observer. The observer is simply someone who's in a wait and see mentality. They show some interest, they show some caution. They're just not actively engaged and they're kind of just waiting to see how the whole thing plays out.
Intrigued, I took Slack.
So that's how she describes the future workers she's trying to decipher from. She's like, all right, so these peasants down here, these employees, I gotta figure out, like, there's 5 different categories of these fools. Where do I stick them? All right, so you got the happy one, we got the sad one, we got the skeptical, we got the rebel, we got the, all right. So now we got that figured out. Like, who do I need, and which one's gonna work good with it? Which human is gonna work good with these robots? I gotta put these into good category. But as you can see, the mindset of what she has going into this AI transforming the new world of work. Like, look at how she's thinking. Look at how she's thinking. The way she's thinking should tell you everything. That's the thing. The way she thinks. It should give you an idea of how the new world of work will be with AI transforming it. Because they say that they still need humans at the top to make logical decisions or intelligent decisions. Well, look at the decision. Look at the decision. Look at it. You're seeing it. You're seeing it firsthand.
Next test to find out what AI persona I have.
What is your AI persona? Take the Slack AI persona quiz to find out who you are. How frequently do you use AI tools for work-related tasks? Probably.
So now she's going in and taking a AI persona test so she can get categorized into whatever position that the other lady was talking about. So she can be put into a category, and she turned out to be a maximalist, but now she's taking a test to categorize herself, so now the woman can know where to put you and how you're going to work with the robot. Because remember, going into this, you have to think, you cost more than a robot, so it's better to get rid of you than the robot. You gotta keep you around. Or really, right now, the robots ain't here yet, but the AI. It's better to get rid of you than the AI. You know what I mean? It's better because it's cheaper to keep the AI than it is you, because humans are more expensive, and as time goes on. But look at the mindset of how they're looking down on humans. Like when you start to use that kind of a language, like, what do we do with the humans? How do we figure out that should scare the living hell out of you. It's like, it shouldn't scare you. That should set off all kind of like red flags, like, whoa, I'm fighting to get a job for people that think of me like this now. You know what I mean? Like, now the rich people, that's how they see people now. You're not peasants, you're a human now. You're worse than a peasant, because now the AI, then when the AI turns into robots, then it's like, okay, you are now officially lower than the, you know what I mean? It's like you're lower than low. You have no need whatsoever. But let's see what happens. Here we go.
But with companies full of staff with such diverging views on AI, is it a good idea to have everyone speeding ahead?
So do you think that organisations should have put guardrails in place first? I mean, AI is moving so quickly, that's hard. Is there a trust piece missing here, I guess is what I'm saying?
There is a trust piece missing. I mean, what we see in the data is that only 7% of workers worldwide fully trust AI, right? And that's to be expected with new technology. You have to use it, The other thing that's really interesting about trust is there's a big manager component here. People who feel trusted by their manager are twice as likely to actually try AI.
What I think you're saying is that there's a very human part to this. Like, do you get on with your colleagues? Do you trust your manager? Do you feel safe to communicate where you've got things wrong?
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you said it like that, because I think so much of the conversation that we're having is around the technology, right? All of the amazing advances that we're making, all of the amazing things that this technology can do. But you can build the coolest technology in the world, and if people don't use it, it doesn't matter. And so to your question about should people have come up with guidelines earlier, maybe, but I also think we need to give leaders a break, right? This is new technology, it's developing so quickly, and we're just trying to catch up. And so what we suggest is it's not too late, right? Now's the time to really sit down and figure out, what is your policy going to be? What are you going to allow your employees to do? And just be clear. The most important thing is transparency.
Slack has found that when businesses cater for all types of AI personas and have defined safe usage,
what are you going to allow your employees to do? So therefore, I mean, that's always been a thing. I'm not going to sit here and harp on that. But what are you going to allow your employees to do? I mean, as much as they can do in this world of AI and technology. But the more people are utilizing the AI, the smarter the AI gets, the better it gets. So the more people you get on to use it, to utilize it, then it's helping replace themselves. You know what I mean? Like it speeds up the corporation's return on investment and their overhead costs. It speeds that up. It's like, hey, we need to hurry up and like cut these costs, because AI. I mean, technically, they're saying we're in an AI bubble. AI hasn't made any profits. So the more people that start using it and get into it, the AI can become smarter, faster, more tech savvy and stuff like that. And then it will help with them on the other end, on the corporation side, the business side, make more money quicker. They're trying to recoup like all the money they've been losing. Be like, we gotta make this money back. Like, I think we kind of jumped the gun a little bit too early, but they'll end up getting the money back. The more people they can get to use it and utilize it. So it's interesting to see how this is going to plan out in the future. Now we have this person right here. We're going to look at what she's going to say about She's the artificial intelligence editor. We're going to see what her mindset is leading into this as well. So let's see how she sees things going into it. So here we go.
That is so easy to use, and it doesn't require changing, your back-end systems or replacing big contracts that you might have with enterprise software companies or whatever. Because in a lot of cases, tech companies that we already have relationships with in the enterprise, like say Microsoft or Google, these are the companies offering generative AI, so can easily pitch to business leaders saying, we're the world's biggest enterprise software companies, and we think this is going to change the world. There's been a lot of buzz now, verging on maybe even hype around, if you don't adopt this now, you're going to be left behind. So it's a good job of both marketing and a sort of consumer-led technology.
HR software company Lattice has made the move to becoming an AI-powered platform. I went to their HQ to see its capabilities.
So right now I'm logged in as...
Yeah, look at the new world of work. We love humans. When was the last time you went to a job and it had "We love humans" written on the wall? What does that even mean? We love humans. Like, you have to look at how this is being moved. Look at how this is being implemented. You're seeing a high end of not a high end, elite people who are moving the needle, and the people at the bottom who are going through so much struggle and strife that it doesn't take too many people up here to control the masses down here. All you need is like 20% up here. You get 20% up here, they'll be able to control 80% of the masses. And you'll probably be able to slowly but surely over time dwindle that 20% down to 19, 18, 17, 16, 15 over time. But 20% up here can control 80% at the bottom for sure. And really, 20% up here can control 60% at the bottom, and you got the other remainder of the 20% like the very, very, very poor. You know what I mean? You can have a 20% at the top, 15% at the top, 20% at the top. You can create 60% as the new middle class and 20% as the poor. Like, you can restructure everything. But look into how this is going. All the power is in the corporations. The direction that we're headed in, all the power is in the corporations. The politicians ain't finna have much power anymore. All the power is invested in the corporations. And everything you see here, it seems like it's women driving the sector. They're driving the tech sector. They're driving the technology. They're pushing it. They're moving it forward. And I'm not against it. I'm not knocking it. Just what I'm saying is understand it. Understand the she economy. So when you see more women and things like that, understand how markets are going to move, what markets are going to trend forward, which ones are going to go up, how to invest the money. Whenever you get money, how are you going to invest it in an economy that's a she economy based? How are women going to use technology or AI versus how men use it? It's just a way of understanding how to navigate and accepting the reality for what it is. How we're moving forward and how things are going. You have to accept what's going on. Don't ignore it. Don't neglect it. Don't fight it. Accept it. But then move accordingly whenever you're able to put yourself in a position and never have yourself rely on anything government. And keep yourself in your own entrepreneurial way of living, and be privy and understanding how to navigate your life, be in control of your life and things that you do, whether you choose to have a family or however you're going to navigate forward. You have to understand the cycle and understand the tier of system that we're going into, that we're into already. Understand it. This is what I'm trying to get you to do. Understand where we're headed, understand what we're doing, understand how the world is moving, understand how to navigate, see it for what it is, accept it. You can fight it, but we're at an inflection point. That's where we're at. So hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully I was able to talk to you and put a bug in your ear to make you do better. Yes. So hopefully today's show, this is part 2 of the show I did on Friday. So hopefully you got something out of it, man. I just want you to get you a understanding on how, you know, how women are working and how the she economy is pushing forward. How some women are saying they're regretting it and some are not. But as you can see, the elite women up top are okay and they're progressing just fine. The bottom, the poorer level of feminist women are not having such a good time with this, and it's not on the same page. We're being in a two-tier society, have and have-nots, rich and poor, wealth gap, wage gap, but at the end of the day, they don't see things the same. It's 2 different lifestyles. It's the way the world is moving. It's the way the world is going. You got to accept it. You got to understand it. Push your head down, grind, put yourself in a better position, do what you got to do to get into a better place. Stay focused, take care of your mind, body, soul, spirit, pray up. Try to eat healthy, work out, exercise. If you got kids, take care of them. If you don't have none until you get into a good position, and then move to a country where the marriage laws benefit you more than anything, unless you can get a woman to agree to a contract that you two can put into place, get it notarized, and then send it to the courts. And if anything happens, you two can go to court with that court document that y'all created for y'all's marriage and then abide by that structure of your marriage. But with that being said, man, make sure your finances are in place. Make sure that you're able to navigate yourself accordingly and try to understand how the world works when it comes to navigating things financially. As far as trust and all that stuff goes, understand how all that works. So therefore, your living conditions won't be so public. You understand how to live more private. With that being said, I gotta get up out of here, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that for today's show. I will catch y'all tomorrow on tomorrow's show. We'll be back in here tomorrow. So thank y'all. Love y'all. Take care. Peace.
Thank you for watching D. Elliott Fitness Livestream. Goodbye.
Baby, I'm obsolete. Pockets chunky like college cheap. Real nigga, I just gotta be. Smoking weed that don't gotta see. Used to be a hustler prodigy. I love when people say they proud of me. I'm eating good, smoking broccoli. Taking over blocks like Monopoly. Only fucking once, that's my policy. Most of these hoes trying to cause a scene. Like niggas mad they not on the team. See, I got bread, then buy the dream. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. Don't wait no nigga and off the top. In the booth, playing bass, counting cash and smoking green. Kept me blowing cloud like a smoke machine. The bitch on my dick, she got no to sing. Bumblebee ass, yeah, I know it's thing. I'll plug your bitch like a 6-string. Jordan with the bitches got 6 rings. Smoke till my bitch a split screen. The press with pain pills and sipping lean. Riding dirty, but I'm extra clean. Lyrics nice, but I'm extra mean. All-star heavyweight like Wolverine. The bitch lines like she open me. I flip money like Clover G. Gang hustle like TIP. It's hard baby like DIG. Acronym like KRT. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. Don't wait no nigga and off the text. In the booth, playing beats. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay-Z. Don't wait no nigga and off the text. In the booth, playing beats. In the beats like RP. No hard shit with your artery. Cutting up, who sharp as me? Rolling up accordingly. Pulling hoes, no sorcery. Rapping like y'all forcing me. If I ain't writing, then it's forgery. Nigga selling to the rock like a Florida beat. Lyrical monster on the Lord of Beats. Text nigga, my bitch Georgia Peach. Pimp tight nigga, I do more than cheat. Cold like D-Wade.
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you
always winning like what's the fee? The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay-Z.